everyone, how's it going? Let me turn the music on. Hello! How's it going? Yes, I make games. See, this is my itch page. Follow me. I am joining actually just got started working on a game jam game. The Toxic Yuri VN game jam. I just got started working on that. So yeah, these games I made, here, let me, these games I made in Twine, the games that I'm gonna show off today, I made in Twine. There's another game that I made this semester, with two other people in Ren'Py. We made a visual novel together, so I have some Ren'Py experience now. But that game, some of my teammates want to make some changes before uploading it on the internet, and I'm kind of just waiting for something to happen with that. But anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna show off some of the other games that I made. Maybe after that one gets uploaded, I'll show it off. That game is a bit longer than my other games that I have to show off, so that one's probably worthy of its own stream, considering it's got like, 7 endings, I think. We went kind of crazy with it, but it's a fun game. Let me say hi to everyone. Hello, Ina. Hi, Pika. Hi, Zano. Oh my god, like seriously, I post the poll. 7 endings, yeah, 7 endings, just the one love interest. We went a little crazy. It's a game, oh my god, actually I love the game. It's called Monster Match. I had so much fun making it. I did the coding and editing. I also did UI elements. And I did the character design for the main antagonist slash love interest. And it's a good game. It's a good game. And then another team member did the art, and another team member did the writing. So it was a cool collaborative project. I really enjoyed it. We did a great job. We absolutely killed it. We absolutely killed it. A lot of people in the class really loved it, and I shared it with some other people who loved it, and I really want to share it with you all, but again, some of my groupmates wanted to make some changes before sharing it with the world, so I will wait for that. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Anyways, I make games. The reason why I made a lot of games this semester is because I took a class, a video game writing class. So, you know, these are about video game, or narrative-based video games. And for that class, we also had to play video games, which is awesome. I fucking love being an English student. I love being an English student. Like, what do you mean playing a video game is my homework? This is the best class ever. I love this class. I actually really love this class. It was probably my favorite of the semester, and then my second favorite was my essay class. Which was also super awesome. Anyways, these are the games that I made, and I'm gonna share them. These two, Crossroads and Hakoniwa, I made them last year. Hakoniwa especially is like, this is my magnum opus. I don't know if I will ever get better than what I did with Hakoniwa. I fucking love this game, and I want everybody to love it, but I already showed it off. Now it's your turn. If you haven't seen Hakoniwa, go play it. Go play it, because it's so good! And I put so much work and energy, and like, there's art in it, it's not just words, whereas most of these other games that we're going to be playing today are just words. So, I recommend it. I love Hakoniwa. It's perfect. Anyways. And then Crossroads was just like my first Twine project that I went way too crazy with. But I made a lot more games, and now I'm like a lot more motivated to do games, which is exactly why I'm I joined this game jam to make a toxic Yuri visual novel because I love toxic relationships and I love Yuri. Put it together, make a game. Can you share the link on Twitch? Yes, there's actually a command for it. Itch. And then look. Did you know that the princess makes games? You can check them out here. There you go. That's my itch.io page. Definitely recommend playing them all. I'm not gonna share them all today. Again, these two I made last year. I already shared them on stream. You can find the VODs later if you're curious about like the inner workings of each game and like the thoughts and feelings that went into each game. I'm not gonna share this one because this one's personal and I don't want to talk about it. I think the game speaks for itself. All of my feelings are in this game. It's like, honestly, I went back and forth whether I was even gonna put this one up on itch, but there's a specific reason why I decided to. And that, yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get into it, but if you're curious, go ahead and play it. I did put it up there. I'm not gonna get upset if you play the game. I'm gonna get upset if you comment and say this is the worst piece of writing I've ever read. If you say that, I'm gonna hate you forever. Probably not even lying. Don't hurt my feelings! But go ahead and play it. And comment if you want, just don't be mean. But yeah, I'm gonna play Introvert Simulator. This one is surprisingly popular on itch. Like, when I look at because itch gives me fancy analytics, right? And when I look at the analytics, this is the game that's played the most. Like, this game is still the most played on my page, but this one is like the recent most played. Alright, no being mean, thank you. Yeah, Introvert Simulator is a really short game that I put together very quickly, and I don't think it's very impressive. But yet a lot of people play. I think it's the catchy title. And I'm going to be playing Billionaire Maker as well. This one's really popular at my school. I'm part of the literature club, or I was. Oh my god, I graduated from college. So I was part of the literature club. Not anymore. I was part of the literature club, and every semester, at the end of the semester, the literature club has a little, what do you call it? A get-together? Not a get-together, an event, right? Like basically a glorified talent show where you sign up, or maybe like a glorified open mic night, I don't know, where you sign up, closed mic night? Anyways, you sign up to perform your written works or your creative expressions or like show off your art or stuff like that, right? And I didn't know what to do, so I impulsively decided to just play Billionaire Maker in front of everyone there. Okay, the crowd kind of went wild. This is now my reputation. Like, Billionaire Maker is my reputation now, and it's a good reputation, but we'll get into that when we play the game. And then Endless Eden, version 1.6, very specifically version 1.6, because I do want to remake this game. I do want to remake this game on a different engine, because Twine did not play nice with the things I tried to do with this game. So I want to remake it, and I'm still considering what engine would be best and what kind of game would best how to put it, tell this story. And it's fucking not Twine, but I put a lot of time and effort into this game, and this game is actually kind of long. It was like, I think 20k words, which was insane because I made it in like a week. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I can totally do a game jam game. I fucking already did. Anyways. It's good. I gotta share it though, because I put so much effort into it. Like, even though in my mind this game is incomplete because I was not able to add as much as I wanted to add to this game. Specifically, that's why it's 1.6. There's a story behind that later. I will get into that when we play the game. So much, like, wait for later. We'll get to it. This stream is gonna be a slow burn. I'm sorry. This stream's gonna be a slow burn. But yeah, I had to upload it. I had to share what I did because I need validation for the work I put in. Okay? Like, don't get me wrong, I already went through, at school, I already went through workshops for each of these games, but I want more validation. I'm a greedy girl. Alright. Wait, I see somebody on my Discord, but I'll look at that later. Don't worry, we'll give all the validation the princess of validations required. Thank you. Thank you, Ina. Alright, let's start with Introvert Simulator. Description. You've just started university. Hi Pally. Hello, welcome in. How's it going? I'm sharing some of the games I made during school this last semester. Right now we're starting with Introvert Simulator. This one's been like a recent popular one on my itch.io page. How are you doing? You've made so many games. I have. Look here. There's a good collection. There's another game too that I made that I haven't included here because it was a group project and some of my group mates want to make changes before uploading it. And then I'm currently working on a game jam game, and it's awesome. I love making games. It's super fun. That's so awesome. Thank you. Okay. Description for Introvert Simulator. I literally wrote this in 2 seconds, I'm pretty sure. You've just started university in a new, unfamiliar city. Decided to put yourself out there for once. You join an orientation event. Someone greets you. You only have a short amount of time to chat with them before your social awkwardness catches up. A short comedy game based off the timer in Queers in Love at the End of the World. That is specifically the prompt we were given, is we have to make a Twine game similar to the structure of Anna Entropies. By the way, if you don't know who Anna Entropy is, like she's a pretty big name in terms of Twine and narrative games. Definitely do check out their works. But Queers in Love at the End of the World is this kind of famous Twine game that gives you a 10-second timer to, 10 seconds until the world explodes, basically, and you decide what you want to do with that time, the very limited amount of time. So, the idea of the structure is that no matter what happens in the game, it will always have one ending, right? And the addition of the timer was not required. In fact, nobody did it except for me. But for me, like, I've already made an assignment based off of the structure of Queers in Love at the End of the World that was Crossroads here, where it only has one ending before looping back to the start. So, I wanted to try my hands at making that timer and see what kind of game I would make with it, and that's why I decided to Introvert Simulator, and I'll do a run to see, or to show you. So amazing for Kiwi. I've been wanting to try, but I just haven't yet. I totally believe in you. You can do it. I highly recommend checking out Twine. It's so helpful. It's beginner friendly, but it also has the option to like incorporate code, and like CSS and stuff like that, if you want to try some of the more advanced things. But if you don't, you can still make a full game with just Twine, just writing and just like basically a block-based programming. Alright, let's full screen and start. Absolutely gotta try. Yeah, I highly recommend it, and good luck. I hope you're able to make lots of games. And like, if you do, I want to play them. Okay, So you just started university in a new, unfamiliar city. Deciding to put yourself out there for once, you join an orientation event. Someone greets you. You respond with, and then look, your social awkwardness will catch up with you in, and then it's counting down. Sorry, it's a little bit close to the top. Hang on. Can I drag this down? It's okay, we'll let the timer run out first while I try to fix this. There. That's better. Your conversation ended after a prolonged bout of awkward silence. Try again? And that's basically it. Like, you have a limited amount of time. Okay, you respond with, "Hi, my name is something that sounds like garbled nonsense to your overwhelmed brain. And I'm a you instantly forgot major. How about you?" And you can answer truthfully, try to act cooler than you really are, or end the conversation as soon as possible. I love the cooler ones. Haha, a space explorer fantasy warrior trainee major. Fuck. And then look, it already ended. It already ended, so let's try again. Because I want to show off my, like, cooler than you really are route, I guess. Trainee major with an emphasis in dinosaur hunting. I didn't even know this place had a degree like that. What classes do you have? Well, there's time traveling 101, the warrior practicum, topics in space fighting. Wow, you are so cool. What kind of interest? Okay, this is difficult to stream. Okay. Cooler, time traveling. Okay. Wow, you're so cool. What kind of interests do you have? Maybe we share a common interest. Remember your favorite Blorble and become an unskippable cutscene. And then it just leads to the end. There's not much after that, and that's pretty much it. It's a very, very short game with not that much, not that much of, just a silence after the Blorble. Yeah, there's not that much to say. Basically, like, every choice that you pick gives you, like, a one-sentence response, and then you can say, like, either the nice answer, the weird answer, or the kind of more, disruptive answer. And then that's it. There isn't much to show for that, to be honest. Just sounds like being introverted. Yeah, you're either you're nice, you're weird, or you're just disruptive. Did I miss a lot? No, you didn't, Sass. Welcome in. Hello. Yeah, I based this game off of my own experience. It's like first impressions with people. I'm either so uncomfortable, I try to end the conversation as soon as possible, and then I come across as rude, or I'm so nice that I come across as like a people pleaser, or I just try to be as weird as possible to try to make them laugh and then embarrass the hell out of myself, like Introvert Simulator. Another classic Kimi self-insert. Oh yeah, absolutely. I wonder if I can make, okay, I can make this bigger. There, this probably helps, I assume. There. Anyway. Alright, I'll do the game again so Zaz can see what the game's like. Alright. So, you started university in a new unfamiliar city. Deciding to put yourself out there for once, you join an orientation event. Someone greets you. You respond with, then your social awkwardness will catch up with you in 17, 16, 15 seconds. Hi, my name is something that sounds like garbled nonsense to your overwhelmed brain, and I'm instantly you instantly forgot major. How about you? A space explorer fantasy warrior training major with an emphasis in dinosaur hunting, and then it just ends. And you can't play you gotta like zoom through this game. You gotta memorize the dialogue. This game's like, I don't know, surprisingly popular on itch right now compared to the other games that I have uploaded. Try again. I feel like Kimi would enjoy watching someone play her game. I would love that! Oh my god, I would I fangirl so much. I'd be like, I would be like in the stands, the metaphorical Twitch stands. Why is this like weird? Oh, is it because I full screen? Is that why it's weird dimensions now? Fuck. How do I fix it? Okay, that looks better at least. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to constantly be fixing that, I think. But yeah, I would absolutely love to see someone playing my games. Or like, commenting on them. Or like, breathing in their direction, please. I'm so hungry for validation. Anyways, yeah, so basically the structure of this goes, this timer is constantly counting down. There's a line of dialogue from some random person, and then you can either have the nice, the cool, the weird response, or the like completely awkward, I'm so uncomfortable, please leave me alone response. And that's the game. It's very, very short. Okay, and then of course this is all messed up now. That's fine. Oh my god, this looks so bad zoomed in. Okay, can I go back to the reset? There we go. Anyways, that is Introvert Simulator. There's really not much else to say. This was the introductory introductory game that we made in the game writing class, and I thought it was decent, so I put it up on itch.io. And people like it, except nobody's leaving a comment, please. No, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Anyways, Billionaire Maker. This is the one that's super popular and has given me a reputation at my school. This one! Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me read the description. It's basically just this. You can get money, sunglass emoji. Play smart, sunglass emoji, sunglass emoji. Win the game, sunglass emoji. You get it. You could be a billionaire! A short and sarcastic comedy game. Oh, it's this one. Even I've heard of this. Everybody knows I'm the billionaire girl. Or, well, you'll see specifically why this game has given me a reputation at my school. And I think it's a good reputation. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with making this game, and I was extra as hell, as you can tell, with the like intentionally, by the way, this is intentionally low res confetti gifts. Didn't you graduate? Okay, well, I'll still have a reputation even though I graduated. Yes, I did graduate from college, but I will always have that reputation. I think they're gonna make a plaque of me. Kimi Billionaire Maker Girl last name. This one does have content warnings. Acts of cruelty, exploitation, gambling, and excessive fucking swearing. Quick stop in to say hi, but I gotta run. Congrats on graduating if it was recent. Thank you, Smurfy! Thank you! I appreciate it. Yes, it was quite recent, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I can't remember, but thank you! You did well with the it's high enough low effort to catch just the right IQ of audience type of web app. Thank you! Yeah, that's the thing, like, this, it was a lot of effort I put into to make it look low effort. That's a skill, I would say. It is a skill to make something look low effort. But I really didn't put too much effort into this game. This game was fueled purely through cynicism. And orange juice, I would say. Basically, we had an assignment to do in ideology game, a game that covers a specific kind of ideology, and I didn't know what to do. So I pulled this together kind of last minute. Professional graphics designer, by the way. Yeah. I worked as a graphic designer for like 4 years. Can't you tell? Yeah, this is Comic Sans, by the way, very intentionally. I did another game that I'm not going to show because it's kind of a personal game. But you can play it on your own if you want. This goes for everyone. But I'm just not going to show it on stream because reasons. But I did not make it Comic Sans. I had a different like script font that I used for that game, but it defaulted to Comic Sans because Comic Sans is apparently the default script font for the web, which is like, what? And so the game just looks goofy now. Is it publicly available? Yes, it is. It is this game right here. Not gonna play it on stream because this is like some of my personal experiences and I don't want to get into it, but it is available for you to play. I don't mind if you play it, I don't mind if you comment on it, I just don't really feel like playing it on stream. It's there. I wouldn't put it up if I wasn't comfortable with people playing it. But yeah, look, it's Comic Sans and it's not supposed to be Comic Sans. It's supposed to be some other script font, but it doesn't show up well unless you play it on phone. I tried playing it on my phone, like the HTML file. I actually never tried playing it on itch.io on my phone, but it looks fine on my phone, just not on my computer, which is like, what? Anyways, maybe it's just my browser, but I tried it with like Firefox and with Edge and with Chrome, and all of them it's Comic Sans. So I don't know. Anyways, let's play Billionaire Maker. I was kind of stalling for the ad to be done, so let's play Billionaire Maker. And I don't care what path we go down. There are multiple endings. I think we'll go like one round with each path. I don't care what path we go down, so feel free to shout any answers that like stick out to you. And then maybe I'll just like speed run the rest of the endings. Anyways, let's start. Let me zoom this in. Okay. Your goal is to become a billionaire, but you only have a month. That's right, 4 weeks to do so before you're found guilty of tax before you lose the game. That's right, this is a game. Now pick what player you want to start as, either trust fund, entrepreneur, or just some dude, gender neutral. So we either start like it's kind of like character customization. Second one, just some dude, gender neutral. Remember, guys, playthroughs are forms of creative content. That's true. That's very true. You can submit it to my creative works competition. You can. I'll allow it. I will explicitly allow it here. Alright, let's do just some dude, gender neutral. Ha ha ha! Good fucking luck, LMAO, week 1. You don't have much money in your account. Your job doesn't pay shit. You can barely even afford your stupid rent. Your fuck-face landlords keep raising the price. But you'll show those idiots when you get rich. Unfortunately, there's not many avenues to getting rich fast when you don't have any money to invest, which means you're gonna have to try something crazy. What will you do? Fuck it, we ball, get a loan, ask friends to lend you some money. After all, you are just a girl, gender neutral. Fuck this shit, I give up. Those are the options. Fuck it, we ball. After all, you're just a girl. Fuck this shit, I give up. Alright, I give up. Well, you just wasted a whole week scrolling on your phone or some dumb shit, not being productive. It's like you don't even want to win the game, even though that's literally the whole point. Maybe you'll do better this week. Week 2. Do something to make money, idiot. Okay, I guess I'll try looking for a job. Jeez! IDK, let me think about it. And by the way, if you think about it, you'll think about it for a whole week. And it's not very productive. I'll try to get a job. Alright. You can't just find a new job! Like, be for real. It's gonna take you months of sorting through fake listings and ghost listings and straight up fucking scams just to find a halfway decent job with shit but kinda livable wages, only for the dumbest AI to auto-tag your resume as not qualified for the position. Don't you remember how long it took just to find the stupid fucking job you're currently working? Oh yeah, and here's the fun part, because misery loves company or some shit like that. Your boss found out you were searching for a new job and docked your pay. It's not even legal? Who fucking knows? Even if it isn't, it's not like you have the money to sue him. How did he find out? Who fucking cares? It's not like advertisers let anyone have any online privacy anymore. Week 3, well you fucked up bad. How will you fix this? Stress clean, or apologize to your boss and promise to work twice as hard. And this is pessimistic. I found my new job within a month. How? Second one? Alright, we'll try. Who wrote this? I wrote this. Okay, like, in my defense, I spent like 2 years looking for a new job before I gave up and I went back to school. So, yeah. I had an in which helped. Yeah, that does help. It's very important to have connections or like know people. But alright, let's try apologizing to our boss and promising to work twice as hard. Your pay isn't the best, but it's steady. The hours are hard though, and you just want to give up. There's likely no way you can become a billionaire at this rate, but you have to keep going to survive. Week 4. How will you win the game? Grind set mindset, baby! Dial it back. Try to find a healthy work-life balance before you explode. Literally. There's the 2 options. Second one. Alright, let's be healthy. You lost! Not only are you not a billionaire, but you're also struggling to make ends meet. All of this is surely your fault, because this game is designed to be winnable if you just try hard enough. But no, you just had to fuck around with shit that wasn't important. Great job. Maybe the next generation will have better chances than you. What do you mean? The grind! It wasn't enough. You were so close to getting the, like, not as bad ending. I felt I had a great start. I was an honest worker. You gave up right at the beginning. But I can show you the other ending. Okay, wait, first. Okay, this is like, you can try again if you want to attempt a new fate. So when is this emote called confident? That's called confident? Really? Okay, disclaimer though, click to view. This work is highly sarcastic and not meant to insult anyone or any person's lifestyles, except billionaires. Fuck billionaires. And this part right here, the fuck billionaires part, is the part that I screamed in the middle of a ballroom at the end of last semester. Notably in the same building as a bunch of higher-ups. What were they gonna do? Expel me? I was already graduating. Did it get last? Oh hell yeah, everybody was cheering. It was so worth it. And like I mentioned at the start, this game gave me a reputation. This was it. I am now Kimi fuck billionaire's last name. Which is, you know, I couldn't ask for a better reputation. Where do I join the movement? Just scream fuck billionaires really loud. And you're in. Alright, try again. I want to show, okay, there is a way to get kind of a more wholesome ending. Like, okay, if you get a loan and then like be smart with investments and then be even more smart with investments and then saying like, here, I don't need to be rich to live a happy and fulfilling life. Like, because this is like, your investments are starting to pay off and the number going up in your bank account. It's not a big number go up. There's likely no way you can become a billionaire at this rate, and you can like go big or go home, casino time, or just say, I don't need to be rich to live a happy and fulfilling life. And then here, it's a little bit more of a nicer ending. It's you make a modest living and are able to support yourself and any future family you might want to have, so long as the economy doesn't change, which means that now that you're actually starting to benefit from the system, you're incentivized to never let it change. But at least for now, you're slowly accumulating your wealth. Maybe several generations from now, your descendants will finally be rich. Unfortunately for you, the goal of this game was for you to become a billionaire, which means you lost. Maybe things would have been better if you didn't come from nothing. Which is like, maybe not completely wholesome, but... The investments are more personal than financial, which is understandable. But you go to the casino and you lose everything. Yeah, you do lose everything if you go to the casino. One more thing I wanted to share from like this route, the just some dude gender neutral route, is if you just like give up. By the way, if you just like give up, he's like the narrator's like, what the fuck, what are you doing? Do something. And then you just look through your mail for a whole week. Like, did you just spend a whole week sorting through your mail? I have no words. This level of procrastination is almost admirable. Almost. But mostly I just don't give a fuck anymore. There's likely no way you can become a billionaire at this rate. Even if this wasn't your last week, week 4. Sorting through the mail revealed a scratch-off ticket, billion for billion. Apparently the grand prize is $1 billion, but there is a 1 in a billion chance to get it. What will you do? This one I literally programmed in a 1 in a billion chance. For if you say fuck it, let's try, you have a 1 in a billion chance of actually becoming a billionaire. I did program that in. I'm like actually quite proud of that. I think it would be great to skip 3 weeks and last week use my last dollar to get a lotto ticket then win. Yeah, this is the billion for billion. Alright, fuck it, let's try it, and then yeah, you usually lose. But I thought it was a cool mechanic that I put in. Skibbity game and that ain't cap. What? What does that even mean? Okay. Anyways, let's try the Trust Fund Entrepreneur. This game, or this route, I guess, has a bit of a different tone to it, and that was intentional. Like, I kind of like this one better because the cynicism is so funny, but this one is a different beast. You made the correct choice. You can tell because the background color is the same. Well, you've got a small hoard of cash from your parents, don't have to worry about bills, and have a goal. Reach $1 billion. What will you do to achieve your goal? Week 1. Start your dream business from scratch. Commit a hostile takeover for a business you know would be better under your leadership. Appeal for a high-paying position at your dad's company. That emote is so cute, oh my god. I love that. Okay, so 3 choices. Which one? There are 2 endings you can get in this route. Which will get you to $1 billion. You can get to $1 billion in this route. Yeah? I gotta run, someone else go. Alright, thanks for stopping by, Smurfy, thank you. See, okay, appeal for a high-paying position at your dad's company. You immediately aced the interview at your father's company and started your position as the new COO. Not that you knew how to do the job, but fuck it. That's what the old COO, your new assistant, is for. The only problem is that, well, the pay is good. It's not good enough to become a billionaire in just a few short weeks. Week 2. What's your next step to becoming a billionaire? Use your funds to start investing on the side or steal employee wages. Hi Ryan, welcome in, welcome. How's it going? I'm currently showing off one of the games that I made this semester. This one's called Billionaire Maker. We're trying to be a billionaire. A grind. This one, we want to use our funds to start investing on the side. We can do that. But yeah, Riot, feel free to shout out any answers you want to see. Unless there's a legal way to steal. I don't think there's a legal way to steal. Alright, let's do this one. You don't know what you're doing, and now you seem to be bleeding money. Uh-oh. Things won't work out for you unless you can turn it around from here. Week 3. How will you remedy your failures? Ask mom and dad to bail you out, or IDK sell the business. Oh yeah, Game Master Kimi! Yeah, I'm showing off one of my toy games. All this family leaning, just observing. What? Wheezy. B. We buy, we sell, we make profit. Alright, let's go. You sell the business and you gain a huge amount of money. No matter what you decide to do from here on out, you will be able to live comfortably. The only problem is you won't be a billionaire. At this rate, there's a low chance you can become a billionaire. Week 4. What is your last idea to try to succeed? Can put that on LinkedIn and Twitter. Ask mom and dad for another loan, or fuck it, let's go all in on stocks! Hey, free money is free money, hell yeah! You are a millionaire, boo, you suck! Sure, you have more than enough money to live comfortably for the rest of your life. You're not a billionaire! You don't have nearly enough money, and most importantly, you didn't win the game! In other words, you lost the game. Try harder to make number go higher next time. Stonks wouldn't have saved us either. That was the end for us. Let's try again. I can show you the route to become a billionaire. First, we have to be not the game. No, I'm sorry, you lost the game. You should have tried harder. Alright, first you gotta be the trust fund entrepreneur, because you're some dude gender neutral. You're like poor or extra poor. But trust fund entrepreneur, if you, I believe you commit a hostile takeover for a business you know would be better under your leadership, but then like stocks plummet and activists organize a short boycott, which is not good. How do you make up the lost funds? You can fire employees and use cheap overseas labor, or completely rebrand and hope the public forgets. This one you're not good at it because you don't know what the fuck you're doing, so you just do this. And then you're making more money than ever, but employees, former employees, and consumers are upset about the way that you've been running your business. As if they have any fucking clue how to run a business! Week 3, how will you run your business? And you can either listen to the concerns of the people. Don't do this! The people don't know what they want! You gotta lobby for lighter environmental regulations to lessen costs. This is not about any company specifically. I don't know what you're talking about. Wow, you're bringing in the dough! Operating costs are low, profits are high, but the public does not seem to approve of your business. Clearly, those ants haven't realized your greatness yet. Still, you're making so much money that it almost doesn't matter, but you still aren't making enough money. You need to see the big number go up even higher. If you play your cards right, there's a high chance you can become a billionaire. Week 4, win the game! Don't listen to the concerns of the people. You won't comply anyway. It's also not enough. I have experience in this way, really. Alright, there's either launch a marketing campaign that shows off your company's humanity, or drastically lower prices, starve the competition, and create an artificial monopoly. This one doesn't work fast enough, you have to do this. And then congratulations! Yeah, you did it! You won the game and became a billionaire. Congratulations, you did it. Gold star! Gold star, you did it! You became a billionaire! Was it worth it? I'm the one who's concerned aren't listened to. No, I'm sorry. Where did the cake come from? Have you never seen Congration cake? I love this picture. Oh my god, it's so funny. Congration, you done it. In chat, you must always believe what we say true. Chat would never lie to me. It was worth it for the gold star. Gold star! Yay! And then this is where I say fuck billionaires. Anyways. That was the game. How did you like it? I had a lot of fun. That game was fueled by cynicism, but I enjoyed making it. I hope you all enjoyed playing it with me. That was so funny. Oh my god. Anyways, yeah, that's it. It was very expressive. Thank you. Gamer out of 10 would billionaire again. Awesome. You can play my games, by the way, on my itch.io page. It's all right here. I'll use the itch command. Yay! Definitely check it out. It was awesome and fuck billionaires. Yeah! Let's go! Ow, ow, ow. I punched my computer. Ow, that hurt. Owie! Okay. Last but not least, I have the game that I actually put a little bit of effort into the page for, because I put so much time and effort and blood and sweat and tears and all that into making this game. Not the final version though, because I want to remake this game in a different engine, because I made it in Twine. I don't feel like Twine has done me any favors with what I tried to do with this game, so I want to remake it in a different engine, probably add some more things to it. But this game's already very long and I put a lot of effort into it and I wanted to share it off. Is Eden or something else? It's Eden. Sometimes I call it Threeden because I think that's funny. It's a little inside joke with myself, which is a little sad to have an inside joke with yourself, but it is Endless Eden version 1.3. That's how it's said. You can also call it Threeden though, because I think it's funny. It's kind of like the, you know, the gamer tag where you use numbers instead of letters. That's literally it. Eden. That's what the Eden is. You'll see what Eden refers to when we get to the actual game. But I put a lot of time and effort and blood and sweat and tears and yeah. I struggled and I expressed myself in insane ways in this game, and Twine failed me, so this isn't the final version, but I have to show it off because I put so much work into this. A handsome white-haired guy. Maybe? How'd you know? Did you know that kids can't read? What is that? Leet speak anymore? Oh, is that what it's called? Where you use the numbers instead of letters? Is that true? Kimi, what? Huh? Yeah, oh. Ahem. Oh, it's 1337 speak? Is that what it's called? Is that how it's pronounced, or is it like elite? Anyways, that's what this is. That is what that is. Let's read the description. Yeet. The most dangerous question of all falls from your lips. Who am I? Trapped in an endlessly time-looping facility with no memories, you must work with the subjects locked within to learn about what happened to the facility, what exists of the world you're placed in, and most importantly, your identity. Whoa, those are big things! Anyways, this game, I forgot. Oh shit. I think I forgot to put content warnings in the description. I'll edit that later. There's a walkthrough, by the way, too, because this game's complex, but I know how to play this game, so I'm just gonna play through it, going through the endings in the order that I have made them. So, Endless Eden, version 1.6, specifically 1.6 for a reason. I think I'll explain that after the second ending. Walkthrough 4 days ago. Yeah, because I posted this game 4 days ago. That's when I posted the walkthrough. But okay, content warnings. Blood, injury, violence, and murder. Yeah, that's right. There's murder in this game. That's when you know it's good. Anyways, let us start. Where do I put my mouse? Just go away, mouse. It was unnoticeable at first. Just like a wave that doesn't rise as high as its brethren, or sand that's too weighed down to drift away in the wind. But like a drop of blood on a cotton shirt, once it appears, it will forever leave a mark, no matter how hard you scrub. Hi, Asad Camper, welcome in! I'm showing off some of the games I've played. Yeah, there's murder in this game. Yeah. Suddenly, the world starts to shift. Questions you never thought to ask before assaults your sedate brain. What was that? Where am I? When did I get here? You turn, and in a sea of white uniforms, you see that you are the sole individual with a splash of red staining your breast. Then, the most dangerous question of all falls from your lips. Who am I? Place unknown. Time unknown. I opened my eyes and quickly shut them against the harsh glare of the fluorescent lights. 1,000 thoughts flooded in my brain before they dispersed, leaving needles of pain in their wake. The pain was unlike anything I had felt before, but over time, my eyes healed enough for me to reopen them. I was in a wide concrete room, lying on the floor, cold floor. I got up, my muscles aching from what must have been a long nap, and stretched as I observed the room. Every wall was covered in screens, most left in a blue stasis, just waiting for someone to touch them. There were 2 doors. Each of them was reinforced and looked heavy, though one of them had a brass label. In the middle of the room was a long metal table with what looked like a single piece of paper on it, but I was too far away to read it. This room seemed familiar, but somehow felt different. My memories were too foggy, though, and I couldn't tell how I knew this room or how I knew it had changed. I decided to look around. And you can look at the table, the screens, the labeled door, or the regular door. I'm gonna look at everything, alright? I put effort into this, I gotta show it all off. Alright, table. I approached the singular piece of paper on the table. It read, "No way out, no way in. Will you be able to find a third option?" I couldn't remember writing it, but it looked like my handwriting. What could it mean? I set it down and walked away. Screens! Most screens were unresponsive to my touch, but the screen closest to the labeled door was already lit up. A text file opened that read, "Observation log number 31. As of late, whenever an employee has offered treatment, subject has been observed to be portraying J11, E2, and K5. As these are highly contagious, employees are warned to stay away from subject 1567612-1 until further notice. We will start our administration of isolation for treatment, but considering the failure of past treatments, the probability of success is slim. We may need to resort to L protocol. 11/13/2198. I remembered something. I was an employee working at this facility, in charge of monitoring the subjects within. The details were still fuzzy, but I did remember that my job was to talk to the subjects and observe that their rehabilitation was going smoothly. I couldn't recall the subject, but I knew this room was observation room number 1, on one of the lower basement levels. I couldn't recall which one, though, but I figured that now that my memories were starting to come back to me, I would know in time. I stepped away from the screen. Labeled door. There was a brass label on the door that read Subject 1567612-1. Something about the door felt intimidating, and my hands started quivering, but my chest felt as if it were sparking, urging me to wrap my hand around the knob and open. It wouldn't budge. It appeared to be locked. And a regular door? Place, hallway, time unknown. The door took a little strength to open, but soon enough I was in a long hallway. I looked back at the door I just walked out of and saw a label on it that read Observation Room Number 1. I stepped away and turned back to the hallway. There were 6 doors, including the one I just left, with 3 on each side of the hallway. Each of the doors were labeled. On one side was Observation Room Number 1, Observation Room Number 2, and Observation Room Number 3 in that order. Across from Observation Room Number 1 was a room labeled Office, and following that was a break room and a control room. At the end of the hall was an elevator. I couldn't see a single person in sight, yet I remembered this hallway used to be filled with employees rushing towards their various assignments. I wondered where they all were now. I decided to look around, and this is where things really open up, but I know where to go to. I'm gonna show like base level of every location, but we're not gonna do everything quite yet, because not everything is unlocked quite yet. So let's start with Observation Room Number 2, because Observation Room Number 1, like we can go back in here, this is where we just were. So let's go to Observation Room Number 2. Place, Observation Room Number 2, time unknown. The wide space, concrete floor, labeled door, and many blue screens greatly resembled observation room number 1, without the metal table in the middle of the room. Its absence did the opposite of calm me. It was then that I noticed the silence, the absence of noise, like a void sucking in every breath that I exhaled, its endless mass voraciously gluttonous. I knew then, instinctively, that this was a place that was originally meant to be loud, and yet something had ruined that, shaken its equilibrium until it was perpetually askewed, quiet and disfigured, a mouth that could not speak, an ecological threshold pushed into a regime shift, a deceased clown. This place unsettled me. I didn't want to be here for long, but I ought to try to learn something. What could have caused this feeling that was skittering across my spine? I decided to look around. Screens. Like in observation room number 1, the screens were unresponsive to my touch, but there was one screen lit up near the door that I came in from. It appeared to be a notice of some kind. It read, "Contact your supervisor immediately if you notice you or a colleague displaying symptoms of Q disorder. Symptoms include leakage from the eyes and or nose, using inflections in dialogue, exchanging queries with peers, distinguishing oneself, insomnia or hypersomnia. If left unchecked, Q disorder will develop into A syndrome. Get treatment immediately. Alert, alert!" At the bottom of the notice was a small, minimalistic logo that read, Eden Corp. That's where Eden comes in from! I noticed QD disorder on the stream. Oh no! Contact your supervisor immediately! That was smooth. That was smooth. Good job. I remember now. Eden Corp was the corporation that I worked for. But what was this notice about? Labeled door. There was a brass label on the door that read Subject 15931-12-2. Although the door was solid and sturdy, I could somehow tell that there was someone on the other side of this door. Someone or something. Part of me was excited to meet another person, but whoever or whatever the subject was, it likely wasn't safe to be around. I considered leaving, and you can just leave, but let's open the door. I placed my hand around the doorknob and turned. It wouldn't budge. It appeared to be locked. I tried to open it a few more times, just to be sure, but after the 10th failed attempt, I decided to give up. But just when I was about to walk away, I heard something. Hello? A strong, gravelly voice called out from behind the door. Oh god, I can't make a gravelly voice. I'm just using my own voice. Is someone there? Suddenly afraid, I started to back up, but some sort of pulling in my chest stopped me. Although the voice wasn't comforting, it did sound familiar. Maybe, just maybe, I would be able to learn some things if I stayed and chatted with this subject. The thought felt lifting enough that I was able to open my mouth to speak a one-word reply. Yes. The voice was silent for a moment, perhaps surprised, before he started speaking again. I thought everyone had left. I certainly hadn't seen anyone else so far. Do you know where they went? I asked. The subject laughed. They were all evacuated. Shouldn't you have escaped as well? Why didn't I? Why did I wake up with foggy memories, still in this facility if everyone evacuated? What happened to me? Unless you're one of us. I nearly staggered backwards from the shock of the subject's statement. I stared down at my hands and counted my fingers. 5 on each hand. I was human. Could not remember what the subjects looked like, but I did know that they weren't human. I was different from them. I'm not like you. I'm an employee here. Sure, the subject said, his light tone making it clear that he either did not believe me or did not care. Either way, I wouldn't recommend sticking around here. Why is that? The subject in observation room number 1 is apparently a threat level 6 now. I couldn't remember what threat level 6 meant, but it certainly didn't sound good. Man, it sucks that I'm the only one on this floor that's still a threat level 5. I wonder what I can do to increase it, the subject continued, as if lamenting to himself. Sensing a dangerous shift in his tone, I took a step back, but halted when he said, "Wait." What? I asked, my tone clipped, impatient, scared. If you're looking for the key to the control room, it's in the office. The boss has a hidden compartment under his desk where he keeps it. I had no idea where the subject got that information from, but I filed it away for future use. Thanks, I said as I finally stepped away. No prob, don't be a stranger. I quickly walked away from the labeled door. And then you can leave. You can actually go back if you want. And you can ask him questions, but we're not gonna do that yet. We're just gonna leave now. We're gonna save the questions for later, but that I'm very proud of that. I was able to add that little question thing. Anyways, time to go to observation room number 3. I knew as soon as I stepped into the room that this was a place I wasn't supposed to be. I could feel it, almost as if there was energy in the air, pushing against my shoulders, my feet, my lungs. The oppressive atmosphere stroked invisible fingers down my spine, promising my greatest nightmares if I dared to stay. This was not a place where humans were meant to linger. Deciding not to spend much time here, I took a quick look at the room. It was a wide room with a concrete floor, a middle table, a laboured door, and countless blue screens across the walls, just like in observation room number 1. Yet everything felt too tiny, too natural, too sterile for me to feel comfortable treading. Some instinctual part of me wanted to shrink away from this room. It was a completely new feeling, and not a pleasant one. This place didn't feel familiar to me, but maybe there was still something in it that would help me remember something. I decided to look around. Table! There was nothing on the table, but I could make out a hazy reflection of myself. My hair appeared to be deceivable, but when I lifted my hand up, it felt smooth. Unfortunately, without a proper mirror, I wouldn't be able to see what was going on with my hair, or what I looked like for that matter. I shrugged and stepped away. That will be important later. I'm sorry. Anyways, screens. Like in observation room number 1, the screens were unresponsive to my touch. There was one that was lit up near the labeled door. I walked up to it and saw that it was open to a text log. It read, Observation log number 96. It has become aware. L protocol will no longer be enough to subdue it. This level of danger requires a new threat level, 6, the first of its kind. We do not know the kind of destruction that it can reap, were it to get free reign on Earth. This could very well cause the end of humanity, despite everything that was sacrificed in order to save us. All we can do is keep it locked inside its hell and hope that it cannot break out. Hope? Perhaps I have already been infected. 12:03, 2198. The observation log only served to unsettle me further. I stepped away from the screen. Let's go, another Kimi game. Hi, Tums! Welcome in, welcome. Yes, I'm showing off my games today. Today I'm playing Endless Eden, version 1.6. Are we the subjects? Level 6? Well, we are, the subject in observation room number 3 is. Alright, let's go to the labeled door next. There was a brass label on the door that read Subject 16112-3, though several scratches marred the characters. The solid door felt oppressive, and I couldn't bring myself to reach my hand out to the knob. I could feel whatever was behind that door watching me, pressing down on my lungs and stealing what little air I could suck in through my petrified lips. I felt a bone-deep terror and knew that, if I stayed here, I was going to die. So glasses, Lena's Peak, thank you! I like wearing these when I'm reading stuff out. My legs finally unfroze enough for me to take a step back, but then I heard a soft, feminine voice call out, "Hello?" I turned to run, but a desperate voice froze me in place. "Please wait, I promise I won't hurt you. It's just been so long since I've had someone to talk to." Something about the anguish in her tone stopped me and had me turning back to her. "I can answer any question you might have. I know a lot about this place, just please, talk with me." I was still scared, but I guess I could try. And if things got too scary, I could just run. And then you can ask stuff! Okay, I mostly put this in place because I thought that all of these terms being thrown around were maybe confusing, so we can ask her questions, but we're not going to. We're gonna save this for later. Wait for the juiciness. I promise it will be worth it. We're gonna just run away, because we're cowards. Let's go to the office! I turned the knob, but it wouldn't budge. It was locked. Never mind, let's go to the break room! Place, break room, time, unknown. The break room was a plain white room with several chairs turned in the direction of a large screen, which kept looping through advertisements. A single fridge stood at the far wall, its door unadorned and clean. Apart from that, the only thing that stood out was a small tablet on one of the chairs that someone must have left behind. The room felt familiar, as if I had spent a lot of time in it in the past, but it felt almost eerie without any people. There wasn't much to look at, but maybe something would jog my memory. And I decided to look around. Let's look at the large screen. I approached the screen and watched the looping advertisements. If you weigh less than 150 units, use weight enhancers, query your guardian, or contact Eden Corp today. If your uniform gets dirty, replace it immediately. Query your guardian or contact Eden Corp post haste. Any infection can lead to a humanity-ending epidemic. If you or someone you know displays symptoms of Q disorder, query your guardian or contact Eden Corp immediately. If you weigh more than 150 units, use weight reducers. Query your guardian or contact Eden Corp today. Eden Corporation, ensuring prosperity for all in the post-apocalypse world. We will survive together. How long had I been watching? The advertisements were all repetitive and honestly quite dull, but somehow I felt my attention being sucked into the screen. I quickly turned away. And then if you try to look back at it, I'd better not. Sorry, I had fun. I had fun making that. Anyways, fridge. I opened the fridge to find its shelves completely bare except for a singular key. Where did the food go? And who put this key in here? There was no one around to answer me, so I shrugged and grabbed the key. It was labeled office. I closed the fridge door and stepped away. Now let's look at the tablet. I picked up the tablet and its screen lit up in my hands. It appeared to be open to the middle of a book that was titled Offspring Rearing How-To Manual, Volume 15. I read a little bit of it. Between the ages of 3 to 10, human offspring develop a phenomenon known as curiosity. This can be a concern for parents, but it is a perfectly normal trait in offspring of this age. Curiosity will lead to querying and inflection of dialogue. When this happens, direct them to query your personal guardian. For example, why is the sky blue? If your offspring keeps directing their queries to you, see page 98 on how to punish your offspring. If your offspring continues displaying curiosity past the age of 11, contact Eden Corp for an evaluation of possible Q disorder. I tried to flip to page 98, but the screen was unresponsive to my touch. I set it down and walked away. And let's go to the control room. I turned the knob, but it wouldn't budge. It was locked. Never mind, let's go to the office. Ow, oh, my shoulder just popped. That hurt. Place, office, time unknown. I unlocked the office door and stepped inside. There was a red carpet adorning the floors and intricately designed wood paneling covering the walls, giving the room a retro feeling. A single oak desk occupied the room with a plush chair behind it. On the desk was a bulky, old-fashioned computer. Behind the desk was a wooden door that was labeled Server Room. The room had a friendly atmosphere, but something about the room made me feel nervous. I didn't want to spend much time here. Decided to look around. Let's look at the computer. I approached the old-fashioned computer and noticed a light that I believed indicated that it was on. I touched the screen, but it was unresponsive. Just as I was about to step away, I noticed an oval device sitting next to it that I recalled was a mouse. I refrained from letting out a huff of annoyance. Although I didn't remember much about my boss, I did seem to remember the exasperation I felt about his obsession with old technology. I wiggled the mouse device and the screen lit up to review a long 3,491 replies! Scratch that, incredibly long email chain. I read a little bit of it. To B12 Chief Operating Officer from C12 Chief Operating Officer. Subject, Re. About our last meeting. Sorry that I missed you. I'm currently out of the office. Please forward any messages to our server room. C12 server at eden.all. Thank you. C12 Operating Officer, Eden Corporation, Prosperity for All, C Branch. 2. C12 Chief Operating Officer from B12 Chief Operating Officer. Subject, Re. About our last meeting. Apologies for missing your message. I'm currently out of the office. Please forward any messages to our server room, B12 server at eden.all. Thank you, B12 Operating Officer, Eden Corporation, Prosperity for All, B Branch. 2. B12 Chief Operating Officer from C12 Chief Operating Officer. Subject, Re. About our last meeting. Sorry that I missed you. I'm currently out of the office. Please forward any messages to our server room, C12 server at eden.all. Thank you, C12 Operating Officer, Eden Corporation, Prosperity for All, C Branch. And then it keeps going on. More of the emails were like this. Was this just the whole chain? I stepped away from the computer. I thought that would be fun to include, by the way. I really enjoyed that part, but anyways, let's go to the wooden door. The wooden door had a brass label that read server room. The soft brown color felt almost welcoming as I placed a hand on the door. It wouldn't budge. It appeared to be locked. Alright, let's look at the desk. The subject in observation room number 2 mentioned that the control room key was in a hidden compartment under the desk. I didn't know if he was telling the truth, but it was worth a try. I sat down on the plush chair and felt around the underside of the desk. After some time groping around, I felt a latch click, and something fell into my hand. I examined it. It was a key labeled control room. It really was here. And we can leave and go to the control room. I unlocked the door and turned the knob. I opened the surprisingly heavy door and entered into a cold, dark room. Place, control room, time unknown. The room was filled with rows of desks, all of them covered in screens. Most of the screens were dark, as if the computers were off, but there was one that was lit up in the corner of the room. Near the far wall stood a small, white table which seemed to shine in the dark room. On the table was a glass case. Nothing in the room seemed familiar to me. Perhaps there was something that I could learn from here. Decided to look around, and then we'll look at the lit screen first. I approached the lit screen and read the notice that was left open. Notice to all B12 employees. Evacuate immediately. Subject 15676-12-1, now known as Subject 16676-12-1, has been found to be highly contagious and has been elevated to threat level 6. We have no choice but to lock this entire floor down. Additionally, anyone who has worked on Subject 16676-12-1 must report to their supervisor and be tested for advanced Q disorder. Once the floor has been cleared, we will activate an indefinite L protocol. Please note that this does not mean we are safe, but this will buy us much needed time to work on proper countermeasures with the servers. Never return to B12 under any circumstances. You will be considered to be another A syndrome subject if you do so. Repeat, never return to B12 under any circumstances. No one will come to save you. Eden Corporation, B12 Chief Operating Officer. I remembered the subject in observation room number 2 mentioning something about the evacuation. I didn't understand exactly what this evacuation was all about, but it didn't sound good. Why was I left behind? I needed to find a way out. Table. On top of the white table was a small glass case with a hinge to flip it open. Within the case was a key labeled server room. I placed a hand on the glass to open it, but as soon as my finger made contact, the glass turned red and words etched themselves onto the glass beneath my fingers. A syndrome detected. Alarms started blaring in the room, and red lights started flashing from the screens. My heart was pounding in my chest, and I grabbed onto the glass case, trying to pry it open. It wouldn't budge. I couldn't hear anyone coming, nor had I seen anyone around this floor, but I couldn't stop myself from picturing hordes of employees coming in to drag me away. I couldn't let that happen. I needed to get this key and get out. Open! 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 I screamed and pounded my fists against the glass, trying to break it. Finally, I felt the material give and then shatter. Shards tore up my skin, but I ignored it as I pushed away the tiny glass shards and grabbed the key. I wasted no time in hefting open the door and locking it behind me. And then we're in the hallway, and if we try to go back to the control room, I could still hear the alarms blaring on the other side of the door. I better not go back. Let's try going to the elevator. I pressed the button on the side of the door to call the elevator, but after several minutes of waiting, I realized that it wasn't coming. Upon closer inspection, there appeared to be a keyhole next to the call button. I would need to get the elevator key in order to use the elevator. Game logic, yes! Okay, let's go back to the office and we can go to the server room. The wooden door had a brass labeled out red server room. The soft brown color felt almost welcoming as I placed my hand on the knob, unlocked the door, and turned. Place, server room, time unknown. Screens. The room was filled with nothing but glowing blue screens. Even the ground was tiled with them. I took a cautious step forward, scared that it would break under my feet, when all the screens flashed and images of unblinking eyes peered at me. Every one of them stared in my direction, and I held my breath, afraid to take another step. I considered turning around, but then I caught sight of something dark on one of the screen's eyes in the middle of the room. A key. I took another step forward, still holding my breath, and nothing happened. I let out my breath and stepped forward again, but nothing changed. Seemed like the screens were content to just watch. Once I had made my way to the key, I scooped it up and ran towards the door, but before I could leave, a mechanical voice spoke from behind me. Go back to where you came from, for the good of all. I didn't dwell on it. I couldn't. I ran out the door and slammed it behind me before sucking in and exhaling a calming breath. I examined my prize. It was labeled elevator. I could finally leave. And then we leave, and let's go to the elevator! Let's escape! I inserted the elevator key into the keyhole next to the call button and turned. After I heard a small click, I pressed the call button and the elevator doors opened with a soft ding. I stepped inside. Place elevator, time unknown. The elevator doors closed behind me and I was trapped within a dark metal box. I took a deep breath to calm myself, telling myself that this was my shot at getting out of here. I looked at the buttons on the side panel near the door. They were labeled from floor 1 to B12. Which button should I press? All of these will give you the same conclusion, other than B12, which you just leave the door and go back to the hallway. But let's try to go to floor 1. As soon as I pressed the button, the elevator became flooded with a red light. I jumped in surprise and tried to press the open door button, but my hand shaking, but I was trapped. A mechanical voice started speaking from invisible speakers. Warning, A syndrome subject detected. Activating emergency L protocol. I started pounding on the doors. No! Let me out! Let me out! But the doors did not listen. There was no stopping what was about to happen. Please, not this again! I heard myself whimpering, but I couldn't trace the thoughts behind the words. It felt like a conditioned response, as if I spoke them simply because I was meant to, and not because I understood the meaning of them. I collapsed to the ground, defeated, knowing that this was the end. A bright light flashed in my vision, and I cried out before everything went dark. Place unknown, time unknown. I opened my eyes and quickly shut them against the harsh glare of fluorescent lights. 1,000 thoughts flooded in my brain before they dispersed, leaving needles of pain in their wake. Only one thought was left behind. I'm back here again. But then it, too, disappeared, leaving me empty. Ending 1! Okay. Sorry for the off-topic question. Is there any place I can read your VTuber lore? You can watch VTuber lore videos from my channel, my YouTube channel. Hang on. I will go grab the link. 1 second. Go to I have a lore playlist. Hang on, let me go find it as everybody comprehends that ending. DK Rap is an important lore video. That's not, no! It's not a lore video. I have a specific lore playlist. Here we go. There's 3 videos. These lore videos are amazing. Oh, thank you! Yeah, that's where you can watch my lore videos. There's 3 videos. They're not too long. Got it. Thank you. Thank you for the interest. Okay. And for this game, I literally have a like support in this game button because I put so much work into this game, and I'm like, y'all can give me money if you want, but you don't have to. No, it's fine. Anyways, this was the ending 1. Endless Eden. Whoa, title drop. Whoa. And wait, does that mean the other endings have names too? Yeah, that's right. I named the endings. I love endings that have names. Anyways, I think I'm gonna take a quick break because I need to go to the restroom real quick, and then we'll get the other endings because I wanna show them off, and then I'm gonna rant for a while probably. Okay, I will be right back. I have returned. Yippee! Let me take a sippy real quick. Okay. For this next ending, it's very similar in what you have to do to get it. It's just a very ending diverges. This is why I'm like, I need to do this on a different platform, because for Twine, you literally have to replay everything because there's a bazillion different variables in this game that makes it, you know, more, how to put it, it makes it feel more immersive because it's got a bazillion different variables, which means going through the game a bazillion times or like having to replay the game fully in order to like get where you were. How do I want to say this? Anyways, I'm just gonna quickly speedrun the game up until the divergence point for the second ending, because this one has a very similar structure. Yeah. So, you just go out the regular door here. And then you gotta go to observation room number 2. And you gotta talk to the subject here, because they give you the hint for finding the, control room key. Open the door. He gives you the hint for finding the control room key, which you need. So you have to go through this long conversation every single time. It makes me sad. But that's fine. I'm going a little bit slow because my code will error because of the like automatic scroll down macro that I have. It will error if I just quickly spam the enter key. So we can leave now and we can go to the break room and we can get the key out of the fridge. Can you tell I've played this game a few times? I mean, I literally made it. Oops. And then we go to the office and unlock the door, and then we go to the desk and we get the key. And then once we get to the control room, we need to go to the table to get the server room key, and I do believe I coded it, so see, you can't go back in here. So if you miss that screen, you'll miss it forever, or I guess until your next playthrough. So I believe I made it so you can get this ending after getting that key. Hi Dynamic Dawn, hello, welcome in. I'm playing, I'm showing off some of the games I made this semester. This one is Endless Eden version 1.6, and I'm showing off my second ending. I made it so that you can get this second ending by after leaving the control room. You made this? Yes, I did. Yes, and I'm showing it off because I put a lot of work into this, and time and effort and love and all of that, and blood and sweat and tears and all of that. But I do have a hint for what you're supposed to do. Maybe it's a bit, how to put it, obtuse of a hint if you haven't figured things out yet. How cool, thank you! But if you go to the office and then if you go to the server room right here, and then the thing where it says go back to where you came from for the good of all, that's kind of the hint that you're supposed to use. And then leave and then go to observation room 1 and you can click under the table. Wow, this new response, new option showed up. I wonder what that's about. Is it a text adventure? Yes, it's a text adventure game I made in Twine, and it's got 3 different endings. Right now I'm showing off the second ending, and it's basically where you wake up in a facility with foggy memories and you're trying to figure out who you are, where you came from, and this is the ending where you do figure that out. Whereas the first ending, you try to escape and it doesn't work. So cool, thank you! Alright, if you try to go to labeled door though, I need to find the key. It should be somewhere in this room. Gives you a hint, and then if you click under the table, I remembered now. I hid the key to my cell under the table in this room, hoping that after the L protocol activated, I would forget this location, and I did. Who knows how many loops I've gone through. Well, this key lay forgotten under the table. But now that everything was starting to come back to me, I couldn't help but wonder if all my struggles were a mistake. Perhaps I should be less worried about how to get out and more concerned about how to get in. I kneeled and reached below the table, feeling for the key I had taped beneath the cool metal. After a few seconds of searching, I found it and peeled it off. I turned it over in my hand. It was a small, unlabeled silver key, but I knew it was the key to the cell in this room. So basically the idea is that after going to the control room, the protagonist remembers their identity. Maybe I could have gotten that better through exposition, but I don't know. It's a struggle writing a mystery game where you have to look at the environmental clues to figure it out yourself. There are some people who played this game before and were like, oh yeah, I figured things out right away, and then other people that were like, wait, what? So it's a struggle, but this was my best attempt. Anyways, let's go to the labeled door. I unlocked my cell door and stepped inside. There was no one to lock the door behind me, but there was a weariness to my bones that ensured that I wouldn't be leaving this room anytime soon. The ground was plain, white concrete that was cold to the touch. I shivered as I sat down, but there was nothing else to sit on in the room. It was all taken away from me when none of my treatments worked, as if that punishment would somehow fix me. I looked up at the wall to see dozens of mirrors surrounding me, reflecting me. So that's what I look like. My white uniform was in tatters, barely hanging off of my frail body. A spot of red stained the breast pocket of the uniform, as if to distinguish me as different. A wispy mist flowed up from my hair, creating the likeness of antlers. My ears curled upwards and my eyes, they were iridescent, a kaleidoscope of colors so at odds with the identical dark eyes of regular humans. No wonder they called me an A syndrome subject. I didn't look human. I could remember a time when I wasn't like this. I looked the same as everyone else, indistinct. I was just another employee here. Not even referenced to as a number, because that was far too distinguishing. I was just one of the many working at Eden Corporation's B facility, trying to research a way to cure A syndrome subjects. I was so simple back then. The servers couldn't interact with humans directly, so we were in charge of administering treatment to the subjects. This meant that I was working closely with one of the subjects, 15001-12-2. Back then, I never questioned anything, but the things that he said eventually affected me. I used to be an employee at Eden, just like you. It was back before the servers made these facilities, though. Don't you wonder what life was like before the servers started dictating what we did with our lives? What do you do outside of work? What kinds of things are fun to you? I never knew how to answer him. To me, it only made sense to listen to the servers. After all, that was how it always had been. That was what everyone else did. I never considered the concept of fun before. All I knew was work, enrichment, and sleep. Everything else could be handled by my family's personal guardian. Why would I have reason to question that? But as soon as that query entered my head, the change had already begun. Call me One. One? I was so baffled by the subject's request that I repeated its words back to it, the inflection in my tone unfamiliar and dangerous. I looked around, and thankfully my supervisor wasn't around to hear. That could have been bad. Yeah, it's been so long that I can't even remember my name, but I'm sick of hearing you call me 15001-12-2. Such a mouthful, so just call me One. We've been instructed to only call a subject by its assigned designation, I hedged, finding its forwardness hard to deal with at times. It rolled its eyes. Oh, stop it with that it bullshit already. I'm a he. How would you feel about being referred to as a thing against your will all day, every day? I wouldn't like it, I responded, honestly, before slapping my hands over my mouth. I wasn't supposed to respond to the subject's queries. He grinned at me. His mouth looked wrong, lips a little too red, teeth a little too sharp, and smile a little too large. Something about it made my chest feel fluttery. Glad that we can agree on that. I would never ask him any questions, but one could tell by the way I leaned my ear towards him, expectant that I was interested. We all used to be different back then, but after the apocalypse happened, the servers took over. Their programming is to ensure the survival of humanity, so it would do anything to keep us alive, including ruling over us. They deemed that our differences were what was causing us to fight, and many people agreed at the time. I did too. There were so many wars back then. It was terrible, Six. I had no idea why he called me Six. He said it was the number of times I blinked when I was surprised. He counted. But a name? It wasn't something I was used to. Anything was worth ending all that senseless death and destruction, so we all gave up our autonomy to stop the conflicts. We relinquished our names, our identities, even our memories for the greater good. Now there is peace. There is no death, but Six.
His kaleidoscope eyes met mine, an emotion darkening them that I could not recognize but hoped I never felt. This isn't living. I woke up to the sound of alarms blaring. I scrambled out of my cot and tried opening the door, surprised to find it unlocked. The night before, I had been placed in solitary confinement to test me for Q disorder. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. After all, employees who work with subjects are at a higher risk of contracting Q disorder, so it's normal to be isolated for a time after meeting with them. What wasn't normal were the alarms. As soon as the door was opened, I bolted into the hallway and followed the mass of employees rushing into Observation Room 2. They all crowded around the door to one cell. I pushed them aside and yelped at the sight. The mirrors in the room were all broken, shards scattered across the ground with splashes of a red liquid I had only seen once before, when I accidentally fell and cut myself as a child. Blood. I killed it! I can kill! I can kill! I turned to the shaking voice to see my supervisor breathing heavily, one hand clutching a large shard of a mirror and the other over one eye. Blood was leaking out of the eye that was covered, and a clear liquid was leaking out of the other eye. Below him was a figure that I recognized instantly. One! I barely recognized the shrillness of my own voice as I knelt beside one's form. I grabbed his hand and held it to my chest, begging him to wake up. It attacked me! I was just defending myself! My supervisor's excuses barely registered in my ears. Eventually, an authoritative voice commanded the surrounding employees to drag my supervisor away from the scene. When my supervisor demanded to know why, the voice introduced himself as the new B-12 Chief Operating Officer. But it was as if I was still in confinement. I felt as if I was hearing these voices from behind a closed door, the words muffled and distant. All I could focus on was on the small twitches of his fingers and how I hoped that meant he would be okay. I wouldn't be able to stand the pain otherwise. Hope? Pain? When did I start thinking like this? Eventually, some employees took one away as well for treatment, leaving me behind. To your feet, employee, the authoritative voice said. When I looked up at him, my reaction slow and hesitant, he frowned. Leakage from the eyes? We'll have to get you examined for advanced Q disorder. He nodded to some nearby employees who surrounded me and lifted me up by my arms. My head fell, weightless, and that's when I saw it. Every employee here wore the same white uniform. We all had the same color eyes, the same hair, and the same weight. When I looked between my fellow employees, they all appeared identical, sans a few facial features. But when I thought back to one and his kaleidoscope eyes, strange teeth, pointed ears, and disheveled hair, I came to the belated realization that people can be different. When my head fell and I saw the red blood covering my breast, so at odds with the white uniforms of everyone else, a question fell from my lips, unbidden. Who am I? The B-12 Chief Operating Officer's expression turned severe. Bring this one to Observation Room Number 1 and test it for possible A syndrome. After that, I was treated as another subject. I begged and begged to be let out, to know what happened to one, but they never let me. Then, after realizing that it was getting me nowhere, I treated the employees who worked with me the same way that one treated me, with gentleness and a strong amount of, what was the word? Curiosity. I hoped that it would make others realize the same thing I had, that we each had our own identities, but it only made their treatment of me worse. Eventually, no one came to visit me anymore. Until one day, when an employee I was fond of slipped me the key to my cell before running off. But when I opened my door, everyone had already evacuated the floor. Now, after all this wandering around, and after finally regaining my memories, I can't help but feel like I made a mistake. While I understand what one was trying to say to me, how living identical lives with everyone else wasn't really living, I also can't consider this isolation living either. Sure, I was aware of my own identity now, but in exchange I was all alone. There was no one who could truly understand me, because I was the only me. I tilted my head back against the mirror behind me, as I wondered if this was how one felt, if that's why he spoke to me so often, if he was hoping I would come to understand him. A syndrome subjects were the enemies to humanity. If there were too many of us, then humanity would go back to fighting and destroying each other. It would be in the best interests of the greater good for me to shut myself in this tiny self forever. Yet, now that I was an A syndrome subject, I didn't want to be alone. I wanted to find more people like me and learn more about the world. I didn't want to be stuck in this small room and be forced to cycle through endless loops until some computers figured out how to get rid of me. A familiar mechanical voice spoke from some invisible speakers, initiating scheduled L protocol. I closed my eyes against the harsh white light and told myself that next time I would find a way to make this work. No way in, no way out. Let's find a third way. Pernicious Ego! Ending number 2! That ending was like way longer than I initially intended for the ending to be, but yeah, that ending kind of decided the tone for the rest of the game for me, to be honest. Now time to give a little bit of backstory to this game, Return to the Start. So, this is not the first iteration of this game. Did you expect to make the game this big? Hell no, this game was supposed to be short. So originally I made this for an assignment, just a short, like 1 week assignment that was meant to be a map-based exploration game. So this was meant to be a map-based, Sippy, thank you, Sinisters, also welcome in. A map-based exploration game. And that's why a lot of the design philosophy around this game is like, you know, looking at objects and getting flavor text from it and trying to piece the story together, and like the majority of the narrative is in its endings. And I made the game a lot bigger than I originally intended. In that first iteration of the game, it was just the one ending, the first ending, the Endless Eden ending. And I knew as soon as I like dived into the project and started writing for it, I knew it was a much bigger project than I originally intended. And I knew I was not going to be able to finish it right away. So I just made the first ending and I said I will come back to this and I will make 2 more endings at least. So that's, I made good on that promise. And like, holy crap, this game became really long. There are a lot of additions that I made for the 1.6 release, and I specifically called it 1.6 because of the characters 1 and 6. 6 being the protagonist and 1 being the person that the protagonist looks up to and admires. And we might learn more about him later, maybe in the 3rd ending. Anyways, that's specifically why I said 1.6, because it's not version 1, because version 1 was the very original game where I only had the 1 ending, and it was clearly not finished. I even labeled it as unfinished when I submitted the assignment, because I knew I wanted to add more endings. But even now, I don't consider this finished, because I want to make it in a different engine, because Twine, well, you'll start to see why I really struggled with Twine now. I mean, again, like, I'm gonna have to restart this and skip past a bunch of text because Twine doesn't let me skip. Anyways, let's do that. We're gonna get the 3rd ending now, and we can finally talk to the other subjects. So this ending is, you have to talk to the other subjects. Made a bare bones poor template of this for Ren'Py for Kimi to add more to later. Yeah, Mao is super awesome and made a port template for this in Ren'Py, like basically ported over all of the text, and it's like, it's not a short amount of text, it's not a small amount of text. Mao is amazing, and it took them a while, and I'm so grateful. Just super awesome, and I'm excited to come back to this come back to this work and make it even better in Ren'Py, because I really like this story, and I think I did a lot of interesting things with it, but I will get more to that after we do the third ending, I'm gonna be going a little bit quick, but not as quick as before because this one does have a lot of variability. So anyways, skip past all this preamble. And so this ending is reliant on talking to the other subjects. Yeah, we're gonna date them. No, I'm kidding. We're gonna friendship them, actually. So we're gonna raise their friendship. So first we go here, and this was the kind of scary guy. Oops, I accidentally hit leave. Open the door. And we do have a lot of text conversations unlocked. You can unlock text conversations by doing specific things in the game. Getting the other two endings are a big way to get more conversation topics. But you can get this ending for your first playthrough if you're very thorough with exploring places. I don't know if we'll do all the text conversations. Probably not, to be honest. Because I want you all to play this game yourselves and find those conversations. But anyways, let's go to the labeled door and we can look. There's more questions than before last time we tried this. There is, what is your name? How do you know about the control room key? Do you know one? And I think I might be stuck here. Okay, so what is your name? My name? The subject sounded confused for a second before his tone brightened. Well, everyone calls me 1593112. That's way too long. You can call me 9. 9? That was much easier to remember than his designation. What's your name? The subject's 9's query caught me by surprise. You can call me 6. See? The protagonist remembers now! And like, if you didn't get the second ending, by the way, the protagonist would have said, I don't know my name. Right here. So, praise me for this variability anyways. Got it. Well, it's nice to meet you, 6. And then I can't remember if 9 ever calls the protagonist 6 for the rest of the game, but you know, I'm just very proud I did that, alright? And then, how do you know about the control room key? That would be because I know the office like the back of my hand. I blinked at the closed door. What did he mean by that? After a lengthy moment of silence, 9 clarified. You know I used to work here before I was tossed in the cell, right? Really? That was news to me. Yeah, I did more than just work here though. I was the boss. What? A subject at this facility used to be the boss of said facility? Yep, he seemed to enjoy my shocked responses. That's why I know everything about the office, because it used to be mine. Well, that was an interesting fact. How come I couldn't remember that? What, do you not believe me? His voice took on a hard, almost defensive edge. Nope, I definitely 100% believe you. Good. And then we can ask you, do you know 1? 9 was silent for a long stretch of time before he spoke, his voice thick with emotion. I'm sorry. Something sunk in my chest. Why? My voice was a whisper. You were the employee who was close with subject 15001-12-2, right? It was self-defense, but I was the one who ended up killing him. Like, did you notice that detail in the sorry. Fangirling over my own game. I could feel something stinging my eyes. He's really dead? I don't know. 9's voice was soft as well, as if difficult to speak over the weight of the conversation. I was dragged away and thrown into the cell soon after it happened. He could have survived, or he could not have. No one ever told me, no matter how much I tried to ask, and truthfully, I didn't like thinking about it that much. I didn't either, but at the same time, I didn't know if I could ever bring myself to forget again. But thinking back on it, I realized that that was when I developed A syndrome. It wasn't the murder itself, but the knowledge that humans carried the capacity for cruelty that caused it. And I realized then that I alone would carry the consequences of my actions. I thought back to what Juan had told me about the wars. Does it make you want to kill more people? No, his voice was sure. It really was self-defense, and I never meant to hurt him that badly, but it gave me a new perspective. Back when I just did what everyone else did, I never considered the weight of life. After all, when you think that everyone is the same, then everyone is replaceable. No one is important. But now that I have developed A syndrome, now that I've become aware of my own individuality, I'm also aware of everyone else's. Now I know that I will never hurt anyone ever again, because now I know that every life is precious. I'll never again think of someone as expendable again. Thinking about what happened to one still made my heart squeeze and my eyes sting, but I knew that one would have been happy to hear that he helped another person gain a new perspective on living. I decided then that, as much as it hurt, I would focus on the good. And then I can say, I think I might be stuck here, and this will give you advice. Yeah, I can relate with that, considering, Nine laughed. But why do you say that now? Did you need a hint or something? I explained about my memories coming back, and how both trying to use the elevator to escape and trying to go back to my cell resulted in the L protocol starting back up. See, you get this dialogue option for getting both endings. No way in and no way out, huh? So you're searching for a third solution. Got any ideas, I asked? Well, if the only exit available is trapped, then you gotta make your own exit. Nine sounded oddly excited about it. How? Isn't it obvious? You just gotta bust through the wall, he said, as if that was even possible. Huh. I nodded hesitantly. Well, I'll consider it. Let me know if you need help. And then leave because there's no other dialogue options. We'll come back though, don't worry. Let's go to observation room 3 first. And we're gonna talk to the subject in here. New friend time. Alright, and then look, oh my god, like, getting both endings will, like, unlock pretty much all of her dialogue options, by the way. So that's why I waited. This is a quick way to get all her dialogue options, is to just wait till you get the other 2 endings. Anyway, start with, what is your name? My designation is 16100-123, but since that is rather wordy, you may give me a nickname if you wish. Her response was curt and yet elegant, but a nickname, How about 100? 100, well, that is sufficient, I suppose. Only sufficient? Oh no, was I gonna get attacked if I didn't come up with a nickname that was satisfactory enough for her? I could feel myself starting to shiver. Do not fret, I am quite satisfied with this name you've given me. I just struggle with outward displays of emotion. Now that I was listening to her more, I could hear that she mostly spoke with flat tones. She really must have been desperate when she first spoke to me for me to be able to hear her anguish. It made me feel a little bad for her. Well, that's good then. Quite. And you must be 6, correct? Yes, I am. How did you know that? I just know these things. Right. Yeah, I was still confused. Well, it's nice to meet you. Likewise. And then, what is Q disorder? And we get all these definitions. Questioning disorder. Symptoms include crying, leakage from the eyes, outward displays of emotion, especially regarding tone, and seeking an individual identity, though the most prevalent symptom of all is frequent querying, like you are doing just now. I clapped a hand over my mouth. Then does that mean I have Q disorder? 100 giggled, but the noise came out sounding flat. Clearly. Could feel myself growing cold. Does that mean I'm gonna die? Of course not. It is merely a disorder. No, it is more of a classification. Unlike the illnesses that ravaged humans long ago, it has no ill effects on the body, though that is not the case for the mind. However, I like to think about it positively. I didn't even know how I could ever think about a mind illness, or think positively about a mind illness, but I had to know. How so? Well, if you didn't query me in the search for answers, then you would have never learned the truth of Q disorder, right? Better to know thy enemy than to cower at its shadow. Knowledge is power, and it is only through questioning things that we are able to obtain that power. I didn't really get everything that 100 was saying, but power did sound nice. Or do you regret gaining knowledge? When you put it like that, no, I don't regret learning more. After all, every piece of knowledge gets me closer to getting out of here. Good. Then we can ask, let me take a sippy first. What is A syndrome? Autonomy syndrome. When Q disorder is left untreated, it develops into A syndrome. That is, a subject with this syndrome, an A syndrome subject, forms their own identity. They gain a willfulness that is difficult to suppress, Hundred stated. Is it dangerous? I asked. She was silent for a moment before continuing. That is difficult to answer. If you queried the servers, they would tell you that there is nothing more dangerous than an A syndrome subject. After all, they believe that peace can only exist in efficient unity, when no one deviates from their peers. But if you ask me, I say that the only way to truly live is to embrace our differences. It was just like what one used to say. Is there a way to treat it? Well, that is what Eden Corp's facilities like this one are for, Hundred said. But so far, I have not heard of a single A syndrome subject who has recovered. Now it seems like they are more focused on learning how to prevent it entirely than how to cure it. I think I might have A syndrome. Then you are in good company here. I didn't know what to say. It made me feel better to know that I wasn't alone, but it was still scary. That skip was Twine being annoying. I was really struggling with variables here. I opted to stay silent. What is L protocol? Loop protocol. It's 100 trilled off. Even though I just met her, I could tell that that wasn't normal for her to do. What's wrong? Through the door, I heard her take in a large inhale and then exhale. Finally, she spoke again, her voice the same flat tone I was used to hearing. It's a feature of this facility. When something disastrous happens, there's a system in place to turn back time and undo the mistake. It was something the servers created after another subject was irreparably damaged. After all, the number one priority of the servers is to protect humans, and A syndrome subjects are still humans, for better or for worse. I felt a pang in my chest. One. So it activates after a subject has been injured? Yes. She was silent for a long time, for so long that I thought she was done, but after a long pause she continued. Although now that it is mostly used to ensure that none of the subjects learn too much, it resets memories after all. After the evacuation, this floor was put under an indefinite L protocol. After a certain amount of time, time will go backwards, and this floor will reset. I shivered. Does that mean there's a limited amount of time to escape? Correct. That was an unsettling thought. Ahem, do you know 9? 9. 100 sounded confused for a second before humming flatly. Oh, you mean subject 1593112-2. Yes, I suppose 9 is a much more succinct name for him. Do you know him? Of course, I know everyone in this facility. That somehow sounded a little scary. Is there anything you can tell me about him? Well, he's the only level 5 subject left on this floor. Level 5 used to be the highest threat level, but after they created threat level 6 to accommodate me, and then subject 1567612-1 got raised to threat level 6 as well, level 5 doesn't seem very impressive anymore. Sorry, 9, but I couldn't help but agree with that. Other than that, I don't know much about his personality or interests. I heard that he used to be an employee at this facility, but because I never spoke with him, I can't tell you much else. Did you used to work here, 100? No, I was brought in here from outside, although that is a long story, and we simply do not have the time for it. Sensing that she didn't want me to pry, I left it at that. Why do I look like this? I'm guessing you were able to take a look at yourself in a mirror. I thought back to sitting down in my cell and staring at myself in the mirror, how I seemed to have wispy antlers growing out of my head, and how my eyes were a kaleidoscope of colors, just like one's. Yes, I said. That is how it is for A syndrome subjects. Gaining an identity leads to a transformation, or more accurately, it changes your perception. What do you mean by that? 100 was silent for a second, as if contemplating her words. The truth that the servers try to hide is that, from all the wars and illnesses and biological weapons that have assaulted humanity through the A apocalypse, humans have transformed into a new kind of being, kind of like an evolution. This makes us all look drastically different from each other, but that realization is something that servers want to avoid. So at birth, there is a sensor installed in each of our eyes. This sensor makes it so that every human looks the exact same. I nearly stumbled backwards in shock. So you're saying that I've always looked like this? Correct. But you were never able to see it before developing A syndrome. Somehow, A syndrome is able to crack that sensor and allow for your perception to be corrected, although the correction seems to depend on the severity of the syndrome. Some subjects, like a level 3 for example, still perceive themselves to look the same as others. Some subjects, like me, can perceive the differences of even the people who do not have A syndrome or Q disorder. Wow, that was a lot to take in. I was tempted to sit down on the ground just to stop my head from spinning. But since I'm stuck in this cell, I'm quite limited in how much I can learn. I admit there's still much about this that I don't understand. Apologies. No, that's okay. Thanks for explaining this to me. Anytime, 100 said. Alright, I'm taking another sip. Oh my gosh, this is so much text. Alright, do you know one? You're the person who was always talking to him, right? 100 asked in response to my own question. The memories of one weighed heavily on my chest. Yes, that's right. She was quiet for a moment. I'm truly sorry. I cannot imagine the kind of pain you must be in. Do you know what happened to him? My voice was shaky. Apologies, for I don't know all the details. All I know is that he was severely injured and had to be taken away for treatment. I do not know his ultimate fate. I see. But take heart, servers are programmed to prioritize human life above all else. There is a high probability that he is alive. I was surprised to hear a comforting tone to her voice, though I couldn't tell you where he is now. My chest warmed. Maybe 100 had a gentle side to her after all. Thank you. I'm not sure what you're thanking me for, 100 said, but you're welcome. Alright, and I think I might be stuck here, and look! How do I get you out? That's when you know you have enough friendship, is when you can ask, how can I get you out? But anyways, let's try this one first. I see, what have you tried so far? 100 asked. I explained to her how I tried escaping through the elevator and how I tried returning to my cell. In that case, then I think it's time for a third solution. Do you have any ideas? I asked. She seemed to think about it for a moment. The elevator is the only entrance and exit to B12. The way out would have to lie there, but clearly taking the elevator normally doesn't work. There must be another way to use it. I shifted my weight from foot to foot. I didn't want to go through being trapped in the elevator again. Do you know it? Apologies, for I will need to think on this a bit more, but in the meantime I have a request to make, 100 said. Request? Affirmative. I would like to accompany you when you escape. Company? Well, it would be reassuring to have her with me. She was so knowledgeable after all, but I still couldn't shake the feeling that I had when I first stepped in observation room number 3, the fear that seemed to freeze me to my marrow. Wait, marrow? Marrow? Anyways, I'll consider it, I decided on. I'm delighted. Please let me know when you have come to a decision. And then how can I get you out? Pardon, you want to get me out of here? 100's normally flat voice raised a whole octave. Was she really that surprised? Honestly, I was a little surprised by my own conviction. I remembered the fear I felt the first time she spoke to me, but after getting to know her more, that fear just faded away, for the most part. But I feel like I've really come to rely on her, and it would be reassuring to have her when trying to figure out how to escape from this place. My throat is so dry. I'm running out of water. But we're getting close to the end. This ending's not that long. Yeah, I looked around the mostly barren observation room. I couldn't spot any key, and there was nothing that I could use to pry open the door. Well, the table was probably heavy enough to bust open the door, but I didn't think I was strong enough to lift it. Though I'm not really sure how. You don't need to worry about a thing like that, just leave it to me. Was it just me, or did she sound excited? It was strange to hear her use different inflections in her speech. But what exactly was she planning on doing to get out? I tried to strain my ears, but I couldn't hear anything until... Boo. Ah! I jumped after hearing a voice from behind me. I turned and saw a girl with long, black hair and monochrome skin. Her hair sparkled in a way that reminded me of the night sky, as if galaxies lived between the threads of her hair. Her eyes were eerie voids of pure white that gave the impression of omnipotence. It would have scared me if not for the mirthful wrinkles below her eyes. 100? I asked. Correct, the girl responded. I turned back to the cell. It was still closed. I reached out to the knob and turned, but it was still locked. What? I looked back at 100. How did you get out? I merely shifted my form and slid out from beneath the door. Was that supposed to be an explanation? 100 gave a small wave, but never mind that for now. Let's focus on getting out of here. Right. And if you try to go back to the labeled door, the cell is empty because you got her out. Okay, now let's get 9 out. Let's go to the labeled door and we can ask, because we learned 100's name, we can ask if 9 knows 100. 100? Who's that? I explained that she was the subject in observation room number 3. Who's subject 15, or rather 16112-3. Yeah, 100 is a way better name than that. You know her? Yeah, she's been here as long as I can remember. I never worked with her personally, but I have heard about her from the other employees. She's really smart. Give her a little bit of info and suddenly she's figured out more than you or I could ever hope to learn. Almost puts the Guardians to shame. That's why she's so dangerous. 9 usually spoke in a laid-back tone, but even he sounded tense as he spoke about 100. Is that why she's a threat level 6? Yep, it's how they control us, you know. They keep us ignorant, and when that doesn't work, they remove our memories. But that's never worked with 100, and they found that it doesn't work for those who have worked with 100 either. Like they're infected with a new strain of Q disorder. I thought about my own missing memories. Could it be related? Should I stay away from her? I asked, suddenly fearful. I don't think I can answer that for you, 9 said. But wouldn't it be frustrating to give up after coming this far? Yes, it would be frustrating. Oh, we still need to learn new things. Okay, fine. Let's go to the office. Wait, we gotta go to the break room. And we gotta get the key. And then we can go to the office. And then we can ask a new thing from going to the office. I think we just need to, visit the office. Maybe? Yeah, okay, why are you so into old technology? Why do you sound so miffed? There he goes again, sounding defensive again. Well, it's really clunky to use. 9 sighed. Have you tried using any of the touchscreens? Yeah, I said, though they're not very responsive to my touch. Exactly. They all use biometrics that lock up if anyone with Q disorder or A symptoms tries to touch it. Typically, only employees who don't work directly with subjects use the screens, and the employees in charge of working with subjects dictate to them, since, it's normal to contract a bit of Q disorder around subjects. Since I constantly had mild Q disorder, it was irritating to have my screen keep locking up on me, so I just ordered an older computer so I didn't have to deal with that. Wait, does that mean that I have Q disorder? You're just realizing that now? Yeah, I wasn't gonna dwell on that. Not if I wanted to keep my nerves. Is that also why all these doors don't have keys? Or all these doors have keys, I asked? Now that I thought about it, it was a little weird to be using old-fashioned keys when this facility clearly had advanced biometrics. Pick one. Either be slow or be clever. Sheesh. I ignored 9's retort. But yes, if the doors were locked with biometrics, then most of the employees would get stuck every time they walked in a room, he laughed. I've only got a little bit of water left. I can do this though. How can I get you out? What, you want to break me out? 9 sounded surprised. Honestly, I was surprised about my conviction myself. I remembered when I first spoke to him, I felt so scared that I wanted to run away. I thought that he was dangerous, but after getting to know him, I just couldn't see him that way anymore. Yeah, I need your help to get out of here. Are you in? Of course! Great, I said and then looked around the observation room. Couldn't see any keys or spot anything that might be useful in breaking down the door. The room was completely barren apart from the screens, but I doubted they would be any help with busting down a door, especially not one as solid as this. This is what I expected when I read the name. The new options appear every time. Yeah, you gotta search around and explore, looking at the screens and just exploring the environment will give you more dialogue options. But I'm not gonna get them all because because I want y'all to play this game too and explore yourself. Also, my voice is dying, so. Anyways, I couldn't see any keys or spot anything that might be useful in breaking down the door. The room was completely barren apart from the screens, but I doubted they would be any help with busting down our door, especially not one as solid as this. Do you have any ideas for how I might be able to break you out? Oh, you can leave that to me, Nine said. I stood there for a moment, confused, but jumped back when I saw the door open. You know, originally I intended this to be where you had to find the keys to let these people out. Or to let the subjects out, you had to find the keys. But like, I already had to cram this game, and I did not have the time to do that. Out walked a man wearing colorful clothes, a strange star-shaped hat, and paint on his face. Both cheeks had a droplet drawn on it, but the one on the right was colored red, and the one on the left was somehow reflective. I could see my shocked expression through it. His eyes were a similar mismatch of colors, with his right one looking just as dark as everyone else's, and his left looking iridescent. Add 20 more keys. No, I can't do that. Actually, you know what? Maybe I could. That would be fun, where you explore some of the other floors. How many loops would it take to get them all? An endless amount, of course, because it's Endless Eden, right? The circumstances finally caught up to me. Wait a second, that was definitely locked before. How did you get out? Nine lifted a hand up and twirled a small silver key between two fingers. I figured I would end up in one of these cells one day, so I took the liberty of hiding a key in each cell, just in case. Wow, I didn't know what cells to say. Never mind that though. Let's say we break out of this place. I could agree with that. And then the cell's empty! Alright, let's break out. I think, if I remember correctly, if you try to go back here, and if you try to look under the table, it'll be like, no, not anymore. Ha ha! Anyways, just wanted to point that out. The way to finish this ending, by the way, as soon as you break one of them out, one of the subjects out, you're locked into this ending. You can't get any of the other endings. So let's go to the elevator. That's where the ending occurs. 900 and I arrived at the 900 and I sorry. 900 and I arrived at the elevator, a sense of excited energy surrounding us. We were finally going to escape. I was sure that my companions knew each other already, but I thought that it would be good manners to introduce them anyways. 100, this is 9. 9, this is 100. I've heard of you before, and nice to officially meet you, 9 said. Likewise, it's nice to be able to put a face to your name, 100 responded. I couldn't stop the huge grin from bursting on my face. It felt so reassuring to not be alone anymore. The more I stared at the smooth metal face of the elevator, the more my doubts started tugging down on my smile. How do we get out of here, though? About that, 100 spoke up. I actually had an idea. We could try something like how I broke out of my cell. If you concentrate, then it's simple to shift forms. We all shifted to something small, then we could crawl out of the ventilation shafts. We're gonna vent! 9 frowned. How are we supposed to do that? Just concentrate. The server's trying to limit our perspective on what it means to be human. But the truth is that our forms are ever changing, and it's within our capabilities to mold our forms at will. Forget about the uniform notion of humanity that you've been holding on to until now, and delve into your own imagination in order to transform yourself at will. Imagination, I asked. Yes, 100 said. Just think about what form is most convenient to you. No. What form most speaks to you, and do not resist the pull. I glanced at 9. He gave a shrug before saying, I guess I'll give it a try. I watched as he closed his eyes, and between blinks, he disappeared. 9? Down here! I looked down to see what looked like a miniature 9 waving up at me. It really did work, not beating the small accusations. Your turn, 100 said to me. I was a little nervous, but okay. I closed my eyes and concentrated. I thought about all that 100 had taught me, and the courage that 9 had given me. I thought about the freedom of being able to express my own identity, and how I did not have to stay in a fixed location. I didn't need to stay in this perpetual maze. I thought about leaving here with my new friends, and I thought about 1. You did it! I opened my eyes to see 9 and 100 smiling at me. Everything seemed normal at first, but when I looked at the elevator, I saw that it was far larger than anything I had ever seen before. I really did manage to shrink myself down. Yes, 9 jumped up in excitement. Alright, let's get out of Threeden Corp. What? I blinked at him. What did you just call this place? 100 asked at nearly the same time. Threeden Corp, you know, the name of this corporation. I had to put this joke in! The joke from the very beginning of this game where I talked about how I nicknamed this game Endless Threeden. 100 tilted her head. I was under the impression that it was pronounced Eden Corp. Well, maybe, but they used those 3s instead of E's, which is kind of old school edgy internet warrior if you ask me, so I nicknamed it Threeden as a joke. Yo!
Raiders are coming to invade the Pastel Galaxy. Everyone, in position, go, go, go!
Raiders, welcome in! Hello, Yude! Hello, how's it going? What are you doing? What are you playing? Welcome in, Raiders! Let me give you a shout out. Thank you so much for the raid. Hello, I'm Princess Chameleon of the Pastel Galaxy. Please come and see me. I'm playing a game that I made, and I'm sharing it with everyone right now. Right now, we're at the final ending. So we're about to finish this game that I made. Yeah. How's it going with you? Oh, you're playing Dark Souls 2? How'd it go? I hope you had a great time. Hello. It's been a minute. It's really nice to see you. And welcome, Raiders. I hope you had a great time watching you today play Dark Souls 2. And welcome in. I'm out of water now. That's okay. I'll probably end stream after I finish this game because my voice is dead from narrating for so long. I wrote a lot of words. Yeah, Threeden is a joke. Yeah, so like this game is called Endless Eden, but the E's are spelled with 3's, and so I made a joke to myself that is Endless Threeden. And then I made 9 make that joke himself. So it's a canon joke in the game. A game you made so talented. Thank you! Thank you, that's very nice. I've actually made a lot of games. They're all on my itch page. Lots of dust and Dark Souls, but some victories. Yeah, let's go! Congrats! That's awesome. But like that's how Dark Souls goes, right? Like it's a lot of deaths, but those victories feel so nice, right? But yeah, I make lots of games. You can find my games here on my itch.io page. Okay, let's go back. Let's finish this real quick before my voice completely dies. 100 and I just stared at 9 for a handful of moments before I burst into laughter, 109 joining me after a beat. 100 pointed us to the vent soon after that, and the 3 of us escaped from Eden Corp without much difficulty. We knew that our battle was just beginning. After all, there weren't many out there that could accept us for our differences, and the servers saw us as a threat. We would likely face endless adversaries in the future, but I still had hope. After all, I had my friends here with me. We didn't get along because we were all the same. We got along because of our differences, and that, I think, made us powerful. Most importantly of all, I was true to myself. I wasn't what others expected of me. I wasn't a perfect person, and I could never go back to being a uniform copy of my peers. My experiences have changed me, shaped me into my own unique person. I was finally me, and I couldn't wait to show the world. Humanity Unveiled! Oh, that's ending number 3, the canon ending! Yay! It's kind of quick because that was the last thing that I wrote for this game, and it was kind of quick because I was running out of time. But yeah, that's the whole game. Yippee! Thanks for watching, y'all. I put so much time and effort and love and work and blood and sweat and tears into this game. So I'm very attached to it. Of course, I want to add on to this game more, but I'm still very happy with what I've done. Unlike with all of my games, of course, I'm super happy with all these games that I've made, and I'm gonna be making more games because I'm obsessed with being busy and I can't handle having free time, so I'm gonna throw myself into more projects. Yeah. Are you sure you didn't do it just because you had to get out of a paper from school? No comment on that. Woo, thank you. Yeah. I'm excited to make more games. I will be making more games. I just joined Game Jam, so I'm very excited to finish that. I started working on the outline for it today. But that's not going to be for at least a month, because it's a longer game jam. A game jam, yes, the Toxic Yuri visual novel game jam. Because I love toxic relationships and Yuri. And visual novels. So yeah. This game, I feel like there was something else that I said I was gonna talk about, but I don't remember. Anyways, I put so much work into this game, and like obviously I was like fangirling over my own game. So I like it. Okay. Next game though will be more visual because I'm gonna make a visual novel. So look forward to that and play it. I think that's a good idea. Thanks. Okay, I'm gonna look for somebody to read though because my voice is so dead right now because I did so much narration because wow, I wrote a lot in this game. I wrote a lot in this game. Here, I'll go here. Look at my games, yay! Because I am an English student. Well, I graduated. I was an English student. I mean, I still am because I'm going to graduate school, but and I clearly enjoy words and hearing myself type, I think. So yeah. Expect a lot of... I don't like how it's showing my mouse when I'm going on the other browser or whatever. Anyways, expect a lot of words with whatever game I make next. We'll just expect a lot. Good, good, good. Those are good expectations to have. Anyways, thank you for indulging me and joining me as I explored the games that I have made this past semester. Next stream will probably be... It's Homicypher next, right? Homicypher. I think we're gonna finish it then, and then we'll get started on whatever horror game wins the poll, and right now, Corpse Party is like hella in the lead. So, it's gonna be the slow roast of Corpse Party. Probably. So, vote in the poll. If you haven't voted yet, you can vote for multiple, games. Don't vote for Corpse Party if you want to save my sanity. If you don't care about my sanity, then just go with Corpse Party, because that one's winning. Probably gonna play Corpse Party, aren't I? And I guess after Homicypher is done, look forward to the slow roast of Corpse Party, because that's probably what we're gonna play, and I'm too pedantic to get through a whole game without critiquing it, so sorry. And I have a lot to critique when it comes to Corpse Party. Anyways, I'm gonna read now, because me need to rest my voice. But I will be back tomorrow, probably. I think I'll probably stream tomorrow. Yay! Thanks for stopping by, everybody, again. I really appreciate y'all who indulged my interests and are so supportive, and you are all so sweet. And oh, just a reminder to join my Creative Works competition going on right now. Definitely do join it. Share any of your creative works. And the definition of creative works is very loose. So feel free to submit anything, so long as it adheres to the rules. And you can find those rules at that Twitter thread or on my Discord. Yeah, so join! You can win! Yay! Winning is fun! Okay, anyway. I am going to leave now. Okay, bye-bye!